Hi, I'm Andrew with CauseIQ. On this video, we're going to cover how you can access compensation expenses for organizations and view direct compensation details for key nonprofit employees in CauseIQ. We're starting off in CauseIQ's organization search with a preloaded search here. To access the compensation expense information for a specific nonprofit, you're going to want to get to their profile page. From our organization search, I'm going to go ahead and click into Ford's Theater. Within the profile page, I can access the compensation expense details a few different places. First, I'm going to scroll down on the profile page. Below the fold, you'll find the financial section. The financial section is where you can access raw 990 information, as well as digitized financials for the two most recent tax forms released for the organization that you're researching. In the digitized financial section, if I toggle over to the expenses tab, I'll find information such as the compensation of current officers for the organization that I'm researching, non-officer salaries and wages, retirement contributions, as well as other employee benefits paid out. You can see here CauseIQ provides this information for the two most recently released tax form years. I can access this information a few different ways within the profile page as well. First, if I want to add compensation expense details to the very tops of my profile pages that I visit in CauseIQ, I can adjust these quick fields here in gray. To do so, go ahead and hit the settings button, and then you would search for the relevant compensation fields here on the left and then move them over to the quick fields. You can do the same thing for our KPIs to see how certain compensation expense fields have been changing year over year for the organization that you're researching. Let's go ahead and adjust one of the quick fields. So to find the compensation expense fields that I'm looking for, I'm going to click this All button. I'll hit this drop down, and then I'll get to the expenses compensation subcategory section. Within here, let's go ahead and add the total salaries compensation and employee benefit expense for the organization. I'll go ahead and select Add Quick Field now and make sure I'm saving my selections. And now, as we can see here, that expense field has been added to the top of this profile page and will be a default displayed for all other profiles that I visit in CauseIQ. From a profile page, I can also view the individual compensation for key employees when disclosed. So from the profile, I'll scroll down one more time. If I select personnel, within here, we'll have a compensation section here on the right. This is going to disclose the main form 990 compensation data for the individuals. If I want to get a more granular breakdown on this compensation, I can come to a personnel profile by selecting the name here. Below here, I'll have a breakdown of the main form 990 compensation for the individual for the two most recently released years, as well as the Schedule J compensation information. I'm going to get back to our search here now. If I want to view compensation expense information for multiple organizations at once, I can do that with the table tool. So within CauseIQ's organization search interface, if I click this table button, I'll access the search table tool. And then from here, I can customize my data columns. So I'll come to customize columns here. I'm going to clear these out. And then let's go right back to that compensation expense subcategory subsection. And then within here, let's go ahead and add that all salaries, compensation, employee benefits field, which we did at the quick fields for the profile page. So now we have the all salaries, compensation, employee benefit expense displayed in a tabular format for all the organizations in our search. Next, I want to talk about how you can use CauseIQ's benchmark tool to run a compensation analysis report for specific personnel. So I'm going to select this benchmark tool here now. Please note that this feature is available for our Pro and Enterprise customers. The benchmark tool allows you to compare and analyze compensation data for personnel belonging to your search criteria. So in this instance, we're looking at DC-based arts and culture nonprofits with at least 5 employees and $5 million in annual revenue. Within the benchmark tool, I'll need to first tell CauseIQ the type of benchmark report that I want to run. We're going to select compensation of key personnel. The next step is to tell ClausIQ the types of contacts that I want to analyze compensation data for. We do this by position levels and position functions. So for this example, let's go ahead and we're going to remove IT and operations, but we're keeping executive and finance, and we can expect personnel to return in this report, such as CEOs, executive director, VP of finance, CFO type personas. Now that we've chosen the types of people that we want to analyze their compensation based off levels and functions, we need to choose the compensation data fields that we want to add to this report. You can see here on the left, we have our 990 compensation data fields available. And on the right, we'll have our Schedule J compensation fields. Let's go ahead here. We'll keep this total compensation from the 990 selected, and then we'll also add the total compensation disclosed on Schedule J. When I'm ready to generate my report, I'll go ahead and click Generate Report. You can see here with the benchmark tool output, ClausIQ is benchmarking 130 contacts with compensation information available. So we'll have two different sections. One for the main Form 990 total compensation will provide the average, the median values, data points available by year, and then the line graphs that you see compensation ranges by year to understand the growth, and then the growth rates here on the right. Same display for the Schedule J total compensation information. Below here will be all the individuals that are included in the data output above. You'll have the most recently available 990 total compensation data here, and then the Schedule J total compensation. If I want to remove anyone from my benchmark report, what I can do is just click the X next to their name. So for example, you'll see here, Ann Friedman had compensation disclosed as 0 on their organization's 990. So if this is skewing the results and I want to remove her from this benchmark report, I'll just click this X here. If you want to download all the data that's powering this output, you can go ahead and download it to Excel here. The last feature that I want to introduce where we can access compensation information for both organization and personnel is the Search Export tool. So if I click the Export button, I've opened up our Export Wizard. To generate that type of report that includes compensation data for the organizations and for individuals, I need to choose this Personnel with Organization Details export type. I'll then go through a personnel step where we need to select the types of contacts that we want to include in the report by the position levels and functions. These are the same levels and functions that we just used in the benchmark tool. I'll stay consistent with what we used last time. So now with these selections here, we can cap the max number of contacts we want from one given organization with a narrowed levels and functions. I'm going to toggle this down to 2. I'm not going to constrain to must have an email address because for this exercise, I care more about the compensation data available. Below here, you can see here I have the option to only include personnel with Form 990 compensation. So I'm going to keep that checked here. Now I have the ability to choose the information that I want to include in the export report. I have an organization detail column section and then a personnel detail column section. So we've done this a few times now at the organization level, but if I want to go ahead and add organization compensation expense fields to my output, I'll go ahead and I'll select change columns. I'm going to get right back to that expenses compensation topical subcategory. And then I'm going to add this all salaries compensation employee benefits field that we've worked with a few times today. Then of course you can remove anything here that isn't relevant. Below here in the personnel detail columns is where we'll choose the Form 990 and Schedule J compensation that we want to include in the report for the individuals. So I'm going to hit change columns here. Under choose fields on the left, if I hit the drop down, under the All tab, I'll have a Form 990 compensation selection and a Schedule J compensation. So if I hit the Form 990 compensation, here's all the available 990 compensation fields that I can add. I'll go ahead and add that total compensation that we've selected a few times. Same options with the Schedule J compensation drop-down selection. Let's go ahead and add that total comp. Next, I just need to confirm my selections, the columns that will be included in my export, and then I'll create the spreadsheet by selecting this blue Create Spreadsheet button. I hope you found this video helpful. If the CauseIQ team can assist in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out.